Good morning, everyone. This is Samit from Talks on Ground. So, today is February 26th, 2025, and today is the last day of Mahakumbh 2025. The ones who don't know Mahakumbh, especially outside India, it's a massive spiritual gathering to take a bath in a river called Ganga. And this particular Mahakumbh happens every 144 years. Yes. However, there is a Kumbh Mela which happens every 12 years. There are four cities where it is held. Well, these are the details that I'm sure you probably are aware of. The main thing is that this Kumbh has attracted almost over 650 million people to the Ghats of Ganga, or the people who have come there and taken a dip in the waters of Ganga during these last 40 days. That is a huge number, which I don't think any other event in the world has ever seen, ever. 650 million, by the way, is twice the number of people living in the US, the population of US. Even for India, 650 million people is about 40% of its population, or maybe a little more than that. And this is just an estimate. It could be a little more than that or a little less. And surely these numbers are contested, but it is a massive number, and it has a lot of political, spiritual, economic impact, and that's what we're going to talk about. But before we get there, we ought to know a little bit more about Mahakumbh. Some people might know, and might think this is not necessary, but I'm going to do this just for people who definitely would want to know what Mahakumbh is all about. So let's see what Mahakumbh is really about. So some people say that Kumbh Mela dates back almost to 644 BC, and this is what a Chinese traveler said. But honestly, I will think that this Mela goes back much, much further than that, perhaps 100,000 years or more, whatever. I don't have any proof for that, so we can accept these numbers or these dates. Mahakumbh, as in the Kumbh, so it should actually say Kumbh and not Mahakumbh, sees over 100 million visitors, which is more than the population of the top eight countries or whatever, you know. And to host these people in a single city or a sub city, actually, a certain area of a city, in just 40 days is a humongous task, not just of logistics, but of transport, of security, feeding all of these people, and so on. Um, these kumbhs are held in four different cities. It's Prayagraj, Haridwar, Nasik, and Ujjain. And these are particularly based on astrological or rather astronomical alignments of certain planets. Now, obviously, as I said, it means that you have to build a pretty much like a city to host all of these people, and it's a very big task. Uh, Dipping in the Ganga is really supposed to be cleansing your sins and freeing you from the cycle of birth and rebirth. Now, for people who are not Sanatanis, who don't follow Hinduism or Sanatan Dharma particularly, this whole concept of birth rebirth is itself like a foreign concept, but for Hindus this is like a everyday accepted thing, that you take birth, then you do karma, and then you come back again to finish that karma, and so on, and the cycle continues. So time is supposed to be cyclical, and that is why this Mahakumbh comes every 144 years. And a lot of people, especially sadhus or saints and akhadas, as in their congregations and institutions of sadhus, they all set up their centers in this Mahakumbh, and all of them would go there and they will talk about their spiritual achievements, and they will display their spiritual abilities. We're not going to go into that, UNESCO has recognized this as an intangible cultural heritage, and its crowd management is studied worldwide, and it should be. The first step is always taken by sadhus and saints, and that is when the Mela starts. Then you have, as I mentioned, it's connected to the movement of Jupiter, Sun, and Moon in certain zodiac signs, or at least astronomically, they are in a certain position. And imagine this was known to the Sanatanis for thousands of years, if not hundreds of thousands. The economic impact. We will come back in more detail about this, but obviously, if 650 million people, or even half of that, come into a certain city within a small period of time, they're going to eat, they're going to travel, they're going to stay. So that has a massive impact on the local economy. Um, so once you reach Prayagraj or Kumbh, you don't have to care about food because free food is available everywhere in Mahakumbh. So and the crowds are, there is a lot of technology that has been used to make sure everything goes smoothly, and the crowd can move forward uh, in a orderly manner. Now, this was a brief introduction of Mahakumbh. I'm sure if you've been there or you know more about it, I mean, that's going to be true. But for people who don't know much about it, this is a brief introduction of that. Now, as I said, there are massive number of implications of this Mahakumbh, and a lot of things have happened. And there is what should I say? There is much more of a there's more to this than meets the eye. I'm just going to share some pictures that you can see on your screen now. Look at those crowds. So beautiful. It is majestic. It's unbelievable. The more you see, the more you are just enamored by it. All kinds of sadhus and saints are there, and all they want is, you know, uh, salvation, or moksha as we call it. And the best part is that women are involved in this, old people are involved. There is no casteism, there is no caste divide, there is no such divide. Whatever the West talks about the Indian caste system, you can see there is no such thing at all. And when I say at all, no one will ask your name, no one will say you can't go there. Everyone, absolutely anyone can go there and take a dip. So, this is a massive, massive deal, and I'm sure people have. A lot of you have already gone there, but I thought I'll cover this in more detail. Now, coming to the economic impact. Now, just think about it. Uttar Pradesh is India's largest state by population, and it is, I think, the third largest in terms of GDP, or it's called GSDP, the state domestic product. For UP, this is a massive influx of money, consumption, in terms of food, in terms of staying, in terms of transport, all kinds of money has been invested. So this area, this city, this region will see a massive improvement in economic flows for the foreseeable future. At least for the next 2 3 years, this money will rotate, and this should spur a lot of economic development. Even for India, in my estimation, this will have at least a 0.5% to 1% jump in the GDP, because the consumption has gone up. So a lot of people would have saved money over the last few years, and they will have invested in going here. Uh, and trust me, uh, the whole process of getting to Kumbh was a big, big deal, because trains were not available. As in, there was a massive rush, and how many new trains can you run? And flights were really expensive. So a lot of people took multiple modes of transport, and then just reached outside of Kumbh, Prayagraj, and then they walked for like 10 kilometers. You're supposed to walk anyways for 10, 12 kilometers. But there have been a lot of people who have tried to sully the image, if one can call it, and I'm going to show you one news report, which will give you an idea about what all has been going on to kind of bring down the importance uh, and the smoothness with which this event has been conducted. Now, 13 FIRs have been registered against 140 social media handles for spreading misinformation. There were a couple of stampedes, one stampede, and some incidents of, uh, you know, a few fires in the tents. But if you thought about it, um, if 650 million people across 40 days go to a place, now just look at the crime rate that 650 million people in any country would have generated in a month. Look at the number of criminal FIRs or criminal events that could have happened. If you compare that to what happened in Prayagraj, it is not even a fraction. It's not even 1 millionth part of that. So no one was stopped from going there. No one was asked what their caste is. No one murdered anybody. No one raped anybody. No one even pinched their, mobile phone or purse. Nothing of that sort happened. In fact, I have a friend who lost his mobile phone while taking the dip. I mean, of course, he realized it later. He got back home. 2 days later, he got a phone call saying that, listen, I found your phone, but it was drenched in water and it didn't switch on. Now it has switched on. So I've dialed a couple of numbers and I found you. So tell me, where do I courier this to you? Now imagine the trouble that man took. He took the mobile phone. He took it home because it wouldn't switch on. So there was no way to find out whose it was. Then he made sure he dialed the numbers once it did switch on. So that is the kind of character that people have when they go to Kumbh, irrespective of all the events that have happened. Now, there have been other incidents. There was a accident that happened with Nazia Khan, who's a member of BJP but a Muslim woman, and some Muslim men allegedly. This is what she alleged. They attacked her on the way to Mahakumbh because they don't like the fact that she's a Muslim woman who has joined BJP and who's going to go to Mahakumbh and take a dip. So all of these things have happened, and one has to uh, commend Yogi Adityanath, the Chief Minister of Uttar Pradesh, for carrying or organizing this Mahakumbh in such a great manner. And I must add here that in 2024 May June, the general elections, BJP only got 250 million votes cumulative across the states. Now, if 650 million people have taken the dip, or let's say that number is inflated, let's say that number is just 400 million, So even if 400 million have taken a dip in the Ganges waters or Ganga waters, now imagine there are 150 million uh, people who did not vote for BJP. If we do a like to like comparison, there will at least be 15 million people who BJP can tap. Why? Because this was organized in a BJP state. It was organized beautifully, and they can all see that all the negative propaganda that the other parties have done, international media has done, are all false. So over time, not only Yogi Adityanath's stature has increased within India, India's stature has increased across the world, and there is a spiritual benefit because Hindus will feel that, look, now we can freely profess and practice our religion, which was very difficult in India to do for a very long, long time. And yes, if you're outside India, you might wonder what I'm saying, but that's true. And it is only because now we have a BJP government at the center that something like this has been organized so peacefully, so efficiently, and for a spiritual benefit of millions of people. So, this was a brief overview of what happened in Mahakumbh. Uh, I think if you were there, if you can share your experiences in the comments, that will be great. Anyhow, do subscribe, like, and share this video across. This was Summit from Talks on Ground. See you soon with another video. Bye bye.